Me. All righty, so we are officially on, and Dan will probably join us in a few minutes, my friend. So I will turn on my video. So you will be able to talk with him tonight. He just is behind about 15 minutes. So as you can see him. He makes me the host, and he can probably hear everything, but we can't hear him at the current time based on where he's at. So let me turn this around. So either way, I'm gonna have to catch it. Okay, that works. That works. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let me start this other meeting. Well, that's good, man. That's good. Like you've been out there investigating. That's good.
Mostly just banging my head.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what some people, they have to figure everything out before they take action. But you just.
I gotta put my hands on things and just break it to learn. That's
hey, we all know how we learn, right? That's good. I'm proud of you. Some people would still be trying to figure out exactly what they want to do.
You guys were talking about Jameson Law, or maybe I think
yeah, I'm familiar, but Dan is.
Yeah, you pointed us to his kind of policy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we went to his side and watched all the
and that's all we really try to do is provide good resources of information for people to plug in. And it's not like we're robbing the source. People can zoom in on the sources that we follow, and I just, it should make sense. You want to follow people that are actually, consistent. That's what podcasters are, YouTubers are. They're consistent about the information, and people enjoy the information that they've had the privilege of hearing them share, right? And then they can either subscribe or not subscribe, right? Or look at the same video over and over, but these guys do it each and every day, and that's why they're popular. And I've been following them for some of them for years, at least 5-6 years. And they're consistent about what they do, and then they get advertisements because they amass a large following of people. All these advertisers that want advertising, then you can monetize YouTube and actually, I believe Facebook too. You can, after a certain amount of people that are following you, you can monetize it and turn on the switch back there, and start paying for the content that you share. So it's just.
You ever listen to like Captain Whip?
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to I went down in Lacey. So I just we were driving. I listened to her Big Ideas. Her whole team has like different research areas.
Right. Like, they do kind of like mastermind classes.
Yeah, but this is like they do it once a year. They do like they bring all their researchers kind of into a room, and they each talks about like how their big idea is kind of like evolving, and then they kind of all fit together. They were talking a lot about like and cryptocurrencies,
right?
And like the micro transactions,
right?
Can get down to like for like just paying on that, less reliance on outside sources.
Centralization, basically, or middleman, basically.
Well, yeah, it's kind of saying like that by micro monetize things to like or some Bitcoin and other things that you can get paid for like content.
That's kind of like what NFTs are. If you understand a non-fungible token, right? Because there's scenarios in life outside of blockchain and crypto that it's basically fractionalization. Because currently, right now, I think Bitcoin is probably about 41 to 42,000. Yeah, to Okay, so it's been kind of teeter-tottering, but it kind of died for a little bit. And it's all based on the hype, right? I mean, it's just people, most people that have crypto, they hold it. I mean, it's truly wealth building. You want to be able to have instant liquidity. You want to be able to not have a company or a source control your monies, your electronic funds, okay, or let's say your electronic assets, because it could be multiple things. I mean, if you're in the metaverse, NFTs are, just like in an NBA, people getting paid for paying for a 20-second video of a slam dunk by LeBron James. There's football players like the Gronk. He understands the concept of blockchain and crypto, so he's now taking and creating these cards that people can purchase from him, right, and hold on to them, kind of like baseball cards, football cards back in the day when people were doing it fungible, right? Because there's fungible and then there's non-fungible. Okay, and you just have to understand that terminology. So I tell people the first thing you need to do is you have to understand the language. And once you understand the language, then it's not intimidating to you, because it's really not intimidating, because you're capable of the concept. If you understand it, it's just like you say you gotta be you're a hands-on learner. So me, I'm hands-on and visual. I'm visual, and you can listen to. I kind of fall asleep sometimes when they do those lectures. I fall asleep at a few of them, but I have to be honest. I'd be coming from work, man, and I have to come to school and then sit there listening to them talk about something, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm sure he probably went through a few of the coaches. So. But I have learned so much out of so much frustration of things that I saw other people have, and I just didn't have it. And as a child growing up, you try to make sure with your children you're trying to be the best parent you can be. I have one parent, and I'm sure that's what her intentions were, but she had a huge monkey on her back that didn't allow her to focus on. She got all these children, man. My aunties and her friends would say, "Hey, you got too many kids." And I'm being the oldest, and I'm figuring it out as a boy growing up. And now I can see this is my mom, the first one I've ever encountered. And then when I had to come to the conclusion of what really was going on, that was hard. It was hard. People are already being in, they relate you to a pastor because you don't know who your dad is until they say you are. That's not true. That's what society may want to put a label on you. That's the problem. Too many people want to put a label on people instead of trying to understand. Yeah, maybe you're not in that situation. God bless you. You're not. What about the people that are? Do you ever consider a step outside of your world and see the maybe it's not the possibility that you want to encounter on a long-term basis, but to understand it. I'm not an advocate of people, taking their situation and going out to cause harm and being a matter of public safety, hurting people, taking people, hurting people. That's not what I'm advocating. Get the help you need. Even if it means you have to take yourself out of circulation, people may take you out of circulation. Either way, you can't continue this kind of lifestyle. You know what I mean? Because it's just not healthy long term for you or your family, because your family does whatever you do. You know what I mean? So, and that's how I try to keep them. Where is that? Oh, we're in the room, but maybe nobody else is here. Huh? I don't see anybody else popped in. So,
I don't see the like a little sign out there.
yeah, I usually unlock it. You know what I mean? And maybe I should. Well, those that really know, let me just go ahead and yeah. meet along the way. Yeah, so you got your, well, set up the Lightning network, got your, yeah, you got all of it. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, that's like, but you had, that was your main interest when you, the first couple of times you came, this being your third time, you know, your interest was in, you know, what would it cost to start mining, you know?
Well, that's just where,
That's where
that's
you
just
want.
where you end up.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you want to, well, no, you can
You want
go
to learn
there's.
everything about it.
Well, from an actual mining perspective, the concept is the same. It's miners that run our network. There's 6 global ledgers, and they all, the transactions have to be processed through those 6 global ledgers. Okay, miners are people that get paid to confirm those transactions, to make sure that's what gives it its legitimacy. And I believe they started out with proof of work is how we first started, and that's the original design. Okay, and that when people, I try to give them a concept of Linux. Okay, Linux is open source. Okay, APIs when you're building websites are basically giving a developer an opportunity to build on that platform. Okay, because it's open. They can see the code, the programmable code, and then they can improve it. But there's many developers that are out there working on these various platforms as they educate themselves, right? And it's generally with those that there's always competition. Okay, so there's many opportunities out there where people are the first, and there's many of them out there that are startups. But again, as you said, you're wanting to personalize your learning. Okay, and the biggest thing that I share with everybody, learn the definitions, right? Because when you learn the definitions, it relates to conversation. It's kind of hard to, if somebody's talking gibberish and it's like above your head, but you can't. So that, as I said earlier, removes the intimidation of learning, because anybody can learn it if they want to apply themselves. You know, when you do it at your pace, there's YouTube videos out there. You know, I said, hey, there's replays you can take and watch 5 minutes of it, or you can dissect it and say, okay, 2 minutes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, and make things that your mind follows and can relate to. Me, when I go places, I always carry an 8x11 piece of copy paper, several sheets, because I have thoughts throughout the day, and I encounter people throughout the day that share something with me that I want to remember. And I say, oh, okay, I'll remember when I get back to the office. Let me get back to the office. Okay, what was that? I was trying to. So, you know, you pick up little, like you said, I picked up ways of studying, because I believe that even when you go to college and university, that's the whole concept. If you can learn how to study, you can apply that concept. That's what I first just made it a lot easier for me. And understanding that, you know, you have to be one, coachable, willing to learn what you don't know. And you don't know everything. And sometimes it's just, you know, you need to keep your mouth shut and listen. You know, and then you'll start to pick up stuff that's important to you, and helps you to process stuff, because we all process, but some of us process differently. And it doesn't mean that we can't, it doesn't mean that we can't process it. We just have to, everybody says, oh, I don't have time. And I say to them, okay, you know, I know what the problem is. You're not, you have to become coachable. It's everybody has time. It's just, what are you doing? If you're sitting up watching 6 hours worth of TV every time, well, you're 6 hours right there. So I just like keeping it real. So it looks like we're the only one in the house, or the only 3 here today. Sometimes it happens, you know, because I guess for the most part, you know, COVID is, or this new ambient is supposed to be going down nationally. I heard 43 to 47%, but people are still in the hospitals. People are still dying. There's over 2,000 people a day. So technology will continue to evolve, and you know, most people don't think so. They're intimidated. Don't want to tell me, oh, you know, I'm too old to learn about computers. I said, no, my mid-50s when I started learning all this stuff.
I'm 40.
Just what I'm saying.
I'm just starting to learn.
You see what I'm saying? You know,
I'm not
you know,
doing
you
very
know
good.
what I'm saying? But the point is, it's like if they had it out there when we were going to school, I mean, they just didn't. Well,
I wasn't interested.
you know what I mean? And it was like they were big and bulky, and you're right. But I did think I did do some electronic engineering courses. So I had an interest of taking stuff apart and figuring out how to put it back together and how it all worked together from a technical perspective, right? So I think that I always had the curiosity. And then when I applied it, all code is zeros and ones. All the way back to the day when they had the first LED watch with the red face and just had the white lettering. I don't know if you remember that far back, but anyway, that's when they had the first LED watch that had the numerals on there where you could see the time and the seconds. That's going back to like maybe you were still young. Probably like, I don't know, it had to be like about the 70s. Yeah, about the 70s, up to mid to late 70s, I think is when a lot of this stuff started taking off, and then into the 80s, mid 80s, all of that kind of stuff. But it was just interesting, and technologies ain't going anywhere. It is just not going anywhere. It is just too big. And when you learn the original blockchain was built for Bitcoin. That's why that Bitcoin has no other utilities. Most people say, well, how do you exchange Bitcoin for fiat? Okay, well, that's the first concept. But how are you going to make it applicable in the world to where service providers can take payment? Because you have to calculate fees versus the banking fees you're paying currently through centralization, like MasterCard and Visa, for instance, right? Okay, so the merchant gets so much of a kickback, and then the actual vendor gets, so Visa gets so much, and then the merchant that's selling the product gets a kickback.
I think that's where, like, have you heard of Strike?
Yeah.
I think Strike is.
That's the platform that they're working toward. But
Cash App is going to do a similar thing where you can
see, those are all
set up like
set up.
a merchant wallet.
Yeah, but see, that's all set up. Yeah, but that's all set up. Control.
Because of the cheaper wallets?
Because I'm gonna tell you, because those are custodial wallets tied to a company. KYC needs to be approved, but guess what? They're going to have to report to who?
They do, yeah.
To the IRS, right? So this is why centralization does not like decentralization. You can be a cryptocurrency millionaire, and you could carry it on a cold storage wallet. And you could travel into any country and you don't have to declare how much money you have with you. See, it's all about wanting to know what the citizens own. Okay? Because the bottom line is I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do for work. You have to be a little irritated that you could have $100,000 in a savings. Do the math. At the end of the year, the APY or the APR, you're getting 0.01% of $100,000. How much is that? Like that's like $1,000, maybe? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? The reality is like when you're out there hustling your butt for those slaves.
But I mean, like if you were El Salvador, that had to hurt for a while.
Yeah, it does. But see, it's volatile, but in comparison to their fiat.
Oh yeah, no, I understand. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a kind of
crypto is not inflationary. See, crypto when you own crypto, it's inflationary.
Like crypto, do you mean like
crypto meaning that's a because
they were talking about that on the Kathy Woods thing where they're saying
it's a stream of income.
They're saying like if you buy like an NFT or like a video game, like something within that game or something within the metaverse, or like it doesn't deteriorate. There's no depreciation.
Right.
It just stays the same.
Right.
But in my mind, I was thinking like, yeah, but people are making these things like all the time.
They're making them all the time.
They're not difficult to make, so like won't depreciate, unless there's like something special about the story, about its creation, or how it's used. It's like will become less valuable because there's just more newer, better.
Yeah, but see, the uniqueness is just like Beanie Baby. Okay, look at it. I mean, the first bear I sold way back then sold for, I think I bought it in the UK. Man, I was doing, but I sold it for $700. For exactly, just you said be truthful. See, for a freaking bear, that's what I said. Dude, I looked at this bear. It's like, okay, it wasn't anything that's really unique about the bear. It's just a smaller bear. I mean, you know, the material was a pretty basic material. You know what I mean? The only thing it was a Beanie Baby, and it was one of the first bears, I guess. So because it was one of the first bears, it did appreciate.
Yeah, yeah, there has to be something special about it.
Exactly.
You know, like once there's
Exactly.
like, it's like the Funko Pop thing.
Right. That's
Some
why
of
there'll
them
be
are,
different
like,
ones.
highly desirable.
And some won't
and
be.
there's so many made that it's like, oh, somewhere just throw.
But
There's
see,
a few gems or they have stories or.
exactly. And so early adopters always win because you know what you just said? Okay, if you're an early adopter and you're able to make, say, LeBron James 20-second slam dunk over who was it, Charlotte or somebody? I think it was Charlotte, a Charlotte player. Okay, it sold for $68,000. This guy that bought it turned around and flipped it later for $6.6 million. So what we're looking at is we can always talk ourselves out of stuff. I see there's always the probability. See, we're not. I tell people all the time, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have no license for anything. I can just share what I've been able to do. See, because I'm sharing what I've been able to do. If that encourages you, because it's a project. You either believe in the project or you don't. How many people didn't believe in Jeff Bezos? Okay, a lot of people did. Thought he was an absolute idiot, but you know what? He was smart because he had liquidity. He had liquid cash because people were paying him mainly in cash, debit cards. So now he's got all this instant liquidity, and banks will won't get whatever he wants because he's got the liquidity. You see, versus a third party where you have a lien on this piece of property, well, you have to go through a process to play that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So this is why, and it's very volatile. There's, you know, I mean, just we don't want to tweak anybody. Crypto is very volatile. But if you got USDT represents crypto of any type. If you got USDT Tether, for instance, and you want to mine or you want to trade, I tell traders, then make sure when you take your profits from whatever crypto you're working with, put it in USDT Tether because why? It holds 100% of its value. Now, I'm not advocating every stable coin. I'm talking about Tether. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, so you know you have to do your own research on those other ones. I only mess with Tether because I know Tether. You know, and it was built on the Ethereum blockchain in the first place, right? To be able to do that, because what is the Ethereum project? It's all about, like we were talking about earlier. It's about a person like me that provides a service. You know, I have a POS system and I can turn on the POS system to accept Bitcoin. Okay. What is going to be the volatility of that transaction? See what I'm saying? So if I, you know, let you pay in Bitcoin and the cost of Bitcoin was this amount when you paid your bill, by the time I go to liquidate it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the price is locked for the person who sold it, but it's not locked for me. Because if I'm taking the Bitcoin to turn it back into fiat, then I'm going to pay the fee anyway. And what is Bitcoin at the time I decide to do that? Or do I educate myself as a merchant to hold on to all my Bitcoin till it goes up overall better than whatever the transactions I accepted at whatever cost it was to them sold it or bought my service? You see what I'm saying? You know, and that's what the Ethereum project is all about. And Web3 is going to come out of it because basically blockchain is the new World Wide Web. Because it's, you know what I mean? Basically, that's the concept. You know, because everything in it will be asset-based electronic funds, because basically when we go cash our check or get a direct deposit to our account, what is it in anyway? Electronics. The banks don't hold that kind of cash at the location. You know what I'm saying? It's all electronic. They have so much that the armored trucks drop off every morning to make whatever transactions based on the numbers per day at that location. Because they're not going to keep it anymore, right? And at the end of the day, they come pick up whatever's left, right? So, you know, a fool trying to break into a bank is a fool because they go money. And even if you get into safety, I mean, trying to get in to get to the safety, you want to go, I mean, it's just not worth it, man. I mean, you're just about to put a bullet in the chamber and spin your chamber. You know what I mean? Seriously, I mean, you know, your chances of success, forget it. You know, anybody that's trying to fix anything that you try to do here, I mean, they'll leave the country. If you can leave the country, I doubt that. So yeah, it's just a really interesting concept to where technology is going to take the world, those that remain in the world, mainly our children. You know what I mean? Children's children. So I think that for any person that has the responsibility of taking care of the family, you want to be able to make sure you leave your family as best as possible. And that should be your why for everything you're doing in your life. That's my why. I mean, you have a dream. What is your dream? And then whatever that dream is, dream bigger, because you know what is your dream that you can do and make the sacrifices to do everything to achieve that dream. Oh, what a feeling. Because I think everybody's true wealth is time to spend with their children and their wives, because right now the rat race is the wife runs one direction, now the women have to work, and the man runs the other direction, and then somebody else is taking care of your kid for you, so your kid gets to a point they don't even know who you are, and then when you try to get their attention, you turn around and try to buy their affection because you feel guilt for not having what? Time. And time is going to run out. Some people think that time is going to be here for them forever. It's those that are very arrogant. You know, I mean, nobody knows the time or the hour they're going to punch out of here or how old you will be when that happens. You know, and I just happen to be a man of faith and believe that, you know, he knows the beginning and he knows the end. I'm just in the middle of it, and I need to get out of this way and learn to get out of this way, because, you know, he has a purpose for all of us, and it's to help bless or speak into someone else's life that you might have a positive impact. That might be to learn from an experience that you experienced. And you don't want to see them go through. Usually that's the people closest to you, your family. I mean, you should be that kind of person overall, but it's kind of difficult because, you know, you face so many objects per day. It's just a matter of whether you fear, because fear is what controls the entire world. And that's what's controlled the world this whole time. And power. You know, but you know, governance is a tough thing. You know, governance in a country, you know, it's open for corruption. You know what I mean? Because people make connections with people that give them a upper hand over the average citizen. You know, that's why I tell people, it's like, you know, you debate and almost want to beat each other up about politics. I said, my goodness, politics should not be a divisionary perspective between people that are good friends. You're not okay with me disagreeing with what I might believe, even if you believe something different. Am I entitled to have my own perspective about how I view life? I mean, if it's not something that's, you know, meaningful to people, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the concept. I mean, that's what I've just learned. You know, I just truly believe that wisdom is living long enough to get it. Because, you know, there's a bunch of crazy people out here. It was me too at one time, because, you know, you just don't know what you don't know, right? You have to learn that. Like I tell people, don't put your kids in a bubble. Because when you're not here, they're going to have to face it. I mean, I'm not saying put your kids or anybody that you care about in harm's way. I mean, you know what I'm saying. You know, some people, families can put the kids in a, you know, until the kids grow up in this reality that, you know, when their parents are not around anymore, they're going to shock up their life, because you know what? I think that's the money like their parents. True story. And, you know, I just learned that in life, man, there's no law against truth. Truth is obtained. Even if you gotta go through some stuff you don't want to go through, you better learn. Hopefully you learn. You know what I mean? And that's just how I live life. I care about people. It doesn't matter if they care about me. I really do because humans are humans. I think that it doesn't matter where you come, what ethnic background you're from. You want to take care of your family. I know I do. I hope that my parents wanted to take care of me. They just only had the ability to give me life. And thank God had the ability to realize that, why do I stay in a situation that I see every day in everybody else's life go over and over and over and over again? It makes no sense to me. I'm out of here. That's what I did. I didn't care. I didn't care if I was sleeping on the streets or wherever I was sleeping. It's better than being here, so it wasn't that hard, man. I mean, there was just so much pain around me and my family. It's just like, oh my goodness. And I knew I said, there's got to be a better way than this. I tell you what, if I stick around here, I'm not going to figure out how it is, what the way that is, but I'm out here so I can figure out. It was the best decision I ever made. I miss my siblings. I miss my mom. She's gone now. I was so angry at my mom for so long, man. So I was always curious. So I came to where I'm at right now, doing a lot of trial and effort, going places people don't want to go, it doesn't matter because I was married to her, so I had to pay the cost for that too. But, thank God, it's just a lesson for me. The lesson is I don't care how beautiful she is, I'll do the background check. I don't care who she is. You can best believe that. No way, I don't care. I have women all the time flirt with me, and I'm just saying, I don't know if I want to do that. Especially if I don't know nothing about you. That's why I don't do the nightclub thing. No way. I ran a nightclub for 15 years in Canada. Yeah. My mom, she was a waitress in a nightclub. Probably a lot of things. Sometimes I thought maybe there was some incest. I don't know for sure. Just a kid trying to figure it out. Oh no, I'm American born. I just married a Canadian and worked at the Capri Hotel on Highway 97 in Florida, BC. Yeah, I have two kids that were born in Florida. Yeah, my grandson was born in Florida, so I have roots. My son lives in Vancouver. He's a software. I stepped up and lived in Vancouver. Lived in Florida. Moved to Minneapolis after the George Floyd thing. There's a pool on here. Crazy. Thank God for these cameras. Early, late 50s and 60s, probably up for a long time. New York City Police Department. One was one of the most corrupt police organizations in the nation. They can try to downplay if they want to, mob to mob. There's still mob ties up there. What I mean is that they got their hands in these politicians, city officials, government, state government. That's how this stuff happens. How else can it happen? We're the United States of America. We have all of this, CIA and all this stuff. The Cold War. How can we not know that this is not happening? They know it's happening. The American people. I think when you talk about people like Johnson, it's got last name, all these off the wall, whatever, regular name. Do you realize what you're voting these people into? You are voting them into privilege. Guess what? If they want to go on a break, they just go on a break. They don't care what kind of chaos is going on in the country. I'm a politician. I'm going home to my summer house. They got the best medical, got big houses. Your kids don't have to pay for nothing. They don't pay for nothing. And you voted for them. One vote. Did you do background check? This last administration, I'll tell you, I never heard anything like it. Over 50-some people went to jail. And before it was all over, they all got a party. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how does that happen? Only in America, right? I guess we don't have nobody on here tonight, brother. But we have like probably 15, probably 15 or 20, but see, that's how it's always been. There's probably like 300 members. That's how we got involved with it 5, 6 years ago. Because there were so many members, so we asked for people to take it over. We looked at it, we've been to a few of them, and said, so we sent out a email blast and say, hey, you guys want us to send people this group? You know, but we're going to pay money for it. You know, we just want to make sure we have some participation. You know what? It doesn't matter if it's 15 people. We've had 30, 40, 50 people at one time in the location across the park. You know, it's just we've met a lot of curious people for the knowledge. And you got to start somewhere. And our whole perspective was to start in, you know, to give our community an opportunity because, you know, in the Pacific realm, they don't even use debit cards. They use QR codes. You know, Jeff Bezos has a couple of stores that you can go to Whole Foods and, you know, you can use your QR code reader. Boom, there ain't no cash register or a clerk. You walk in the place, top of it's got cameras and all kinds of sensors and stuff like that. You better not think you're gonna walk out of that store. What's that? They have their Whole Food stores. If you do a Google search, he has stores in certain locations that you can go in and purchase with just a QR code. You can have an app on your phone, you know, like, I mean, Whole Foods, I have an app on my phone or Amazon, you know, whatever, you know. I mean, just from that platform, you can see more of that because this is why they created the apps. See, the apps are dynamic, also based off their website, and it allows them to have an e-commerce site, which is something to understand. But e-commerce site is totally different than a website. Even a WordPress website, which is one of the best out there. But there's all these plugins. And if you're not knowledgeable about all of the plugins, you know, then it can become very expensive. So we have software engineers, my company, in programming. We have 150 of them, some of the best of them, 10 years in, and they all are based in India. Okay? And so I'm a director of North America, so I represent the company. And I'm the one that does all of the American business, Canada, and the United States, web builds. We program these templates. So there's a lot of programming that's done in and they're ready to go. We just need to customize it to the client. We provide paperwork for them. We take a 50% up front to cover APIs and HTTPS certificates, security certificates, which are required. Okay, and we have to pay that out of our pockets. So we usually ask for we charge $6,000 for the website, e-commerce. So what that means is this thing, it's a built-in CRM. Okay, so it tracks everything, cross-references it, the whole 9 yards. All you do is plug in the actual plan or the package or the sale price or the vendor, and it's developed for you here locally, but it's developed to where you can have multiple locations around the world. You can tell people IBM starts at $10,000 to $100,000, which is a new company 10 years out of I know that India. You know, but we just happen to have some of the best software engineering programs. You know, same in Russia and other places like that. Which program? Now, does that programmer have integrity? A lot of people are getting called up out there because these crooks, you know, may have a limit on the credit card. Okay, and they make connections with these programmers, right? And know how to make these sites look duplicatable to something that you're familiar with, right? And then all of a sudden they're saying, okay, send me your crypto. Send me so much crypto Bitcoin to this wallet address. Now, can you imagine 93% of the world doesn't even own any crypto. 5% does. And 2% own it. Just the women in crypto is moving. This thing because women are sharp. They understand. Anybody can learn this. And when they learn that they don't have to worry about the government demanding, that's why they're changing all these laws with the IRS right now. It's like, okay, how do you reference Bitcoin? Is it a commodity or what is it? Right? But it's called this. If you hold it, there is no taxable event. It's similar to you rolling it around into, you know, insurance. You know, when you do insurance, you term. Most people get term because it's affordable, right? Right? Over a period of time, it's going to probably expire. But if you're not knowledgeable of the insurance thing, you don't want it to completely expire before you roll it into another policy. See, and while you do that, then there's no taxable event. You're securing your legacy for when it's needed, right? And this is just all education. You know, I mean, I'm no genius or anything. Like I said, you know, I'm tired of people taking advantage of. I'm learning some of this stuff. You know what I mean? And when you do that, that's up to us. There's no reason for anybody to be upset with somebody that's, you know, winning. Your voice. Hi, ladies, come on in. I guess so, yeah. We text him, see if he's going to join us. I'd love to share some of that information. Or if nothing else, we have your email address, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will tell him you want some. I want to communicate with him about Miami. So I'll be back on it. He's so funny. You gotta beat it because he's a solid dude. He really is. I just like his demeanor. He just tells it straight. I love that. It's straight, not fake. I mean, I don't do too well with fake people. So that was 40 minutes ago. So let me just say, you going to join us? Yeah, and I think you can get either one of us, either one of you, probably grab one door at a time, but you have to blackboard, whiteboard behind you. It's pretty neat, actually. Are you going to? Yeah, it's about 5 of that. Yeah, but that's really compact because, yeah, it's just open it up and it's got erasers in there on the flare tips of the easel. Let's see here. So yeah, I think we had like 12 people RSVP, but we get people that RSVP us all the time. Still, sometimes they don't show up. But yeah, but that's what we'll do since you have all that equipment, man. Just gonna have Dan reach out to him, or you can go to the site, just reach out to Dan and say, hey, you know, I have this, and that. I guarantee you, he's just gonna upload it, a bunch of information, because you know he does all that stuff, right? Yeah, oh yeah, he knows a whole lot about life. You know, he sit there, I think, when Mike first came out, showed me just how quickly he sent me whatever was some Satoshis, you know, like about 100 of them, and boom, it was like almost instantaneous. Yeah. So yeah, you just want to make sure that once you got your rig all set up, you just want to make sure you don't lose power. You know, for a period of time.
I guess that's what Tyson.
Is that right? Are they trying to crack down on miners?
Well, no, actually, no, they're not at all. Actually,
Oh, okay.
I think miners are actually more
Feed the economy.
they're making use of
Yeah.
power.
And they're moving there and they're spending their dollars there, you know, a whole lot like that. I think that's the same way with, is it Idaho? Or Wyoming, there you go. Yeah, Wyoming. Yeah, Wyoming is a crypto friendly as well. Come on over here and spend your money. We'll take some of your crypto. You know what I'm saying?
But they're having another one of those freeze things, like the weather gets bad there, I guess. I can see them really bad, like they had.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody can.
Let's do it again. So now they're like, okay, all the miners shut down, so nobody loses their power.
Yeah. See, and then that's what's disrupting the supply chain with crypto, Bitcoin particularly. When you see that fluctuation like that, that's what happened probably about 8 months ago when all of the miners left China because China cracked down on all of the miners, right? So they had to shut down their operation and move to somewhere in the United States and reset it up. And so that took about a few weeks for them to get them back up online. Yeah. And then you started to see Bitcoin climb again. But see, you people that educate themselves educate themselves with the terminology, then they'll understand how and when it becomes disruptive, right? Because you can't always guarantee power, because we live here in Washington State. I don't know why utilities are not underground. I think with new construction, they are putting utilities underground. It makes more sense, because if you got transformers and we got winds anywhere from 50 to 60 miles an hour, evergreen trees and stuff like that, transformers are going to go out, right? And you're going to pay all these linemen all that money per hour.
What's up, Ernest?
Hey, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, man. Oh, dude, sorry about that. I've been in like back-to-back meetings since like 7 this morning. So I did get a break for lunch, so that was cool.
All right, man, that's good. Well, while you're here, it just looks like me and TJ is here. TJ's really faithful. He's always been here. At least he's been here for the last
couple months. Yeah,
a couple months. Yeah. So
hey, I appreciate you last month, man. I wasn't feeling so hot, and even today I was gonna try and make it down there in person, but I ended up having a work meeting that went right up until 5, and then I had until 6, from 5 to 6, and then I had a makerspace meeting from 6 to 7. And then it ran a few minutes long, and that just ended. And now here I am. So I didn't have time.
We got a topic for you, because TJ, he's a real go-getter, man. He didn't go on out there and he didn't set up a biting rig, and these little feedback from you about lightning, and he's got a Raspberry Pi.
I was starting to set up one of those Umbrel nodes with the Raspberry Pi. Then I went and got a little S9 hooked up in the garage.
Man, you went and got a legit ace. You're not fucking around, dude. I love it. That's great.
Anyways, I had to unplug my Raspberry Pi thing, and now I cannot get it to reboot. It's just got an error screen.
What's have you tried just Googling the error? Like, what does the error say?
It's just like it's basically stuck on a system error.
You might, I hate to say it, you might have to reflash the SD card in the Pi. I don't use Umbrel, but I use MyNode. I actually need to get mine spun back up, man. I've been reorganizing my office, and so it's disconnected right now. But I did have to at one point, because I tried to do, I feel like I tried to do like an update, like an OS update, and it fucked it up. And so I ended up having to flash the SD card using, I can't remember the app that I used, but basically you got that like the bin file or whatever that has the Raspberry Pi OS on it, and you use the app to flash it to the SD card. The downside is that's going to reset because you're flashing it back using that Umbrel download that you originally got. So the downside is it's going to be basically set up again. Hopefully, like, did you have any actual Bitcoin on there, or were you just running the node at this point?
No, it was still downloading the blockchain.
Cool. So that's the good news, right? Make sure too, like when you're setting that up, again, I actually think I might install Umbrel this time, just because I've heard it's really cool and I'd like to try it out, because the interface looks a little nice, like the UI looks a little nicer than MyNode BTC. So I know, like with MyNode BTC, when you set it up, it has you write down like key recovery phrases and stuff like that. Like always make sure to like physically write those down somewhere, so that in case something like that happens and this time you do have Bitcoin on the node, you're not going to be totally fucked and like lose your coin or whatever. So but that's awesome, man. Are you actually running the S9?
Yeah.
Nice.
I already had power in my garage for my welder, so I just
fuck it, why not? Yeah. I'm assuming you're mining as part of a pool.
Link up to the slush pool.
Okay. Have you heard about damn, man, you might want to think about running some solo miners. Have you heard about like within the last couple of weeks, there have been some people that are running small rigs, mining solo, and they've solved a block by themselves, which means they got the entire 6.25 Bitcoin.
Yeah, I saw that. There's been like 3 lately that I've heard of.
Yeah, it's usually pretty rare, but there's been like 2 or 3 lately within the last couple of weeks. I was actually going to ask Ernest if he had heard anything about that.
Are you much into the mining stuff too?
You know, I not really, man. So my buddy that got me into Bitcoin years ago, he told me, he said, you know, because I asked him, I was like, well, what about mining? You know, and he said, well, he said, in my experience has been that if you want to mine Bitcoin to get Bitcoin, just buy Bitcoin with the money that you were going to use to buy the miner, and you're going to be pretty much about even, you know, like it might be like give or take maybe, but like my time preference for Bitcoin, like I try to have a very low time preference, you know, like I'm not looking to cash it out soon, you know, like, and I mean, soon might be different for everybody, but for me, I'm trying to like, I mean, I've already cashed out a little, but I've also been in the space for, you know, it'll be 8 years, actually over 8 years now, because I got into the space December 2013. So it's like, you know, but like I've cashed out some of that I got at the early beginning, right? But like the Bitcoin that I buy now, I'm not planning on cashing that out until, you know, 2027, like several years, right? So like that, you know, that appreciation, I have mined a little bit. I've never had an ASIC, but I've mined like altcoins and shit on you know, GPU mining or whatever. But I also like, so I rented, when I first got into Bitcoin, I was a renter, so I couldn't really do anything there, like anything at least, you know, major, right? And then now I've owned a house for the last 5 years, but it's a super small house, and so I don't really have the room. You know, for a while I had an old laptop that the screen was busted on, and so I had it running out in the garage mining.
That's where I got mine, out in the garage. I got a little attached garage. There's no heat out there, so it's like the perfect little thing to keep the temperature. Just
right, exactly.
Keep the frost off the car.
Hey, that's smart. I like
it. Purpose for me. It's justifiable, even if it's not profitable.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing is like if you're not doing it to actually make money, I mean, I feel like that, you know, as long as you understand that like you'll probably break even, maybe, you know, but like if you keep that big, so like here's a story I like to tell about mining, right? Years ago, I mean, this was probably like 2014, 2015. I had I think it was NiceHash was the mining software, and I had it running on like a fucking Mac Mini, which is like one of the most underpowered. It's like a, you know, I mean, it's barely a computer, right? Like I mean, it's more like a really fancy like digital media player, you know. But I had a miner running on that, and I mined like, again, 2014, 2015. I mined like 3 Monero with that thing. And so like, you know, let's see, what's the price of XMR price? Monero is $185 now. So like that 3 Monero running on that Mac Mini, you know, it's like what, $500, something like that. So like, I mean, I don't know. It just, again, it just depends on how long you're going to hang on to it. Why are you doing it? Do you need the money? Honestly, if you need the money, you shouldn't be fucking with Bitcoin mining anyway. You know, like it's not a good way to get rich quick.
No, I'm kind of the mindset that it's most of the Bitcoin that I buy is for my kids' college fund.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's the way to do it. You know, I don't have any kids, but like, I don't know, like we might, I mean, I don't know. My wife and I have talked about having kids. Like we've tried a couple of times, it just hasn't worked out. My wife's had a couple of health issues and things like that, you know, and like, so we might adopt someday. Even if we don't adopt though, I told her, I said, you know, it'd be nice to just like, when I pass away, it'd be nice to like leave money to like a good organization that's doing good work or something. You know what I mean? Like help it to feed people, leave it to a food bank or so, you know, like somebody that's helping to make the world better. You know, because there's not enough of that, and what is out there doesn't get enough support, you know. So like that's for me. Like I have definitely tried to take the approach that Yeah, Bitcoin has definitely improved my economic standing in life for sure, but it's also made me more generous. Like because I have more money now, more available capital, I give away more money to charity than I did before I had that money, right? Because like now I can, and so like I don't know. I definitely keep plenty of it for myself, but it's also like it has enabled me to be more generous. So but that's cool that you've got an S9 running. Where did you get that? Like just eBay?
Actually, I just happened across. I was, I think it was on Craigslist or Facebook Market.
No way. That's cool.
Yeah, and I was taking my son to Legoland, and I just was bored, looking for some computer stuff, and that popped up. It was in Tacoma. We were going to be at the airport, so I just messaged him. He came and met me.
Nice.
He was a really cool guy. He actually, that's what I asked him. I said, I've never done this. If I have any questions, can I get back to you? And sure enough, he walked me through a couple of things, helped me get it set up.
That's cool.
Yeah, it worked out really good.
That's funny. Yeah, I never really even thought to look on Craigslist for miners, but now that you mention it, gosh, Ernest might remember exactly when it was. It was probably a year, maybe even 2 years ago now. There was a guy on Bellingham Craigslist who was selling, I want to say he wanted like 8 or 10 grand for it, but it was like a 10 by 10 shed that he had built into a crypto mining shed. And he had built in like HVAC and shit, had not insulation, but like ventilation, had like the ventilation, to like suck the air out and everything, like keep it cool and whatever. And included all the miners and racks and everything he had built in there. I don't know if he ever ended up selling that. It was on Craigslist though for like a while.
That's good.
Man, I've been in meeting after meeting. I'm gonna step inside for a minute so I can take a quick bio break because I've been out here for too long now. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
All right, man. Good to see you.
All right, yeah, you too, man. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Dan?
Just taking a bio break.
Oh, okay. All right, man.
Oh my gosh, you come back like the second that I get up from my desk,
I'm
man.
sorry, brother. Hey, I have some other guests here, so I'm entertaining them while you were talking to my.
Oh, no problem, dude. I'll be back in like not even 5 minutes. I just gotta step inside and take a number one real quick. So.
All right, well, TJ, hang out for a little bit. He's faithful, so we gotta take care of him.
Yeah, man, exactly. Yeah, I'll be right back, TJ.
We'll
flap the gab a little more.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, did he answer some of the questions later?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So did he give you some information on how to get that reset?
No, just
Oh, you didn't have any information there?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's run a similar one. So he suggested reflashing, which is kind of what
Yeah, well, you do that anyway.
Yeah, it's
right. But do you have, okay, so you know what, even if you get in the jam, brother, just remember this YouTube.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm serious. I mean, there's guys out there that know what. And there's any of this stuff, dude, I try to come all the time. It's just, not an area that, that I'm interested in, but there's some people that like to, want to, and should be able to. That's what they want to do, because you're going to learn a lot about the concept anyway, right? Yeah. But then there's other platforms, you can go to, a cloud-based or a company that does it all for you. Yeah. Pretty much. That's where you get into DeFi. See, like I'm involved in those kind of opportunities because fractionalization and making people, or educating people on the fact that Bitcoin started here in 2009. And you could have got 3 Bitcoin for this amount of money, less than $1. Okay, see what I'm saying? So, what I'm saying is there's no stroke of magic. It's all timing. Everything's timing. If you're in the space of timing where you're able to jump in and take advantage of it, then it will bless you. But you're going to come from one point. Getting started is the biggest. Getting started is then being consistent until you reach a level. And that level is if you're going to invest so much money in this project, then you want to be able to come and break even at a certain point, right? So you need to educate yourself on what you need to do. If something breaks down, you need to be able to do it. track that, he basically shares two different types of miners that you can buy that are right the card already goes into and so forth, so on. And he does comparisons to the different models that he suggests. But, quiet as kept, Sony and all these other companies do say, hey, you got podcasters that, basically compare these cameras to that camera, that type of thing. And so that's content. And people will, come to your page. And once you hit, I think it's like 10,000 followers or maybe 1,000 followers, you can turn on that monetization.
It's 1,000, but you also have to have a certain number of video watches per month, like it's a couple thousand hours. Yeah, they changed it, which sucks because I don't have many subs, but I had a few videos that would occasionally go viral-ish, and I'd make like 20, 30 bucks here and there, and now I don't make shit.
Well, hey, that's called early adopters, brother. Everything's getting better and faster, and more things to get involved in if you choose to do so, man. So TJ was like, he said, well, do you think I'm ever going to meet Dan in person? I said, well, I guess he's
Man, all right, I will. I swear I exist. I am not like a computer program. If so, the computer would probably make me more handsome. So, no, I will do my best to be there in person next month.
Yeah,
I'd also,
but you're a busy man too. You're a busy man, and like I told TJ, can always send us an email. Because he's got that information.
Well, and so normally, so the Makerspace, I'm on the board of directors at the Bellingham Makerspace, and normally we meet once a month.
Right.
And then for a while we were doing every 2 weeks because we had a lot of shit to do. Well, then we got rid of this like toxic, shitty person who was our interim executive director. And now we've got even more to do. So now we're meeting every week on Mondays. And so that's temporary, right? It's not always going to be that way. I do want to talk to you at some point though, Ernest, because the Makerspace is at the mall. It's right across, like it's almost just across the street from where you are. I'd like to start doing more events again, including like in-person and classroom stuff. And the Makerspace has a huge classroom with a projector. We've got all kinds. So we chat about.
That's not difficult at all. I'm in, brother. Just let me know.
They've been talking about doing a Raspberry Pi class, and if they do that, I would love to send out some info to our members, because one of the very obvious things you can do with a Raspberry Pi, as TJ and us talking about, is to run a Bitcoin node. And so I definitely want some Bitcoin representation at those awesome. Raspberry Pi classes if possible. So
yeah, definitely, man. That's education and kind of give them a breakdown of everything that they need to know, right? Pretty much.
What's the age range for that Makerspace?
Dude, it's all ages, man. I mean, we've got, so to be a member, you have to be 16 or older, and if you're under 18, you do have to have your parents sign a waiver. And also if you're younger than 16, like we have a family membership plan. And so like if you have kids, right, as long as you're with your kid, like, yeah, if you're a member and you bring your kids in with you, as long as you accompany with them and don't let them use any of the tools or anything unattended, that's totally fine. But yeah, it's all ages, man. I mean, we've got members that are 60 plus, some of our older guys that like to come in and use the wood shop. So, because we have a really nice wood shop in the back of our space, and so that's we'd
walked by it in the mall and wondered what it was.
Yeah, come in and check it out sometime, man. We just so we were closed to the public for a little while because we're a members only space, but we're in the mall obviously. So like we have a little retail section that's open to the public, and then we used to just provide kind of walk-in tours just whenever somebody would walk in and say, "Hey, I want to check out the space." Honestly, man, like there's a lot of looky-loos, and it's cool. Like it's cool that people want to come and check out the space, but also realistically, like we were giving so many people tours of the space that like couldn't really get anything done. We'd have our employees in there and they're spending all their time just showing people around instead of like doing the shit that they need to get done. And so we just switched to a model where we're doing tours on Sundays at 1 and 4. So 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. on Sundays. We're just doing open to the public general tour. So if you want to take a tour of the space, any Sunday basically at 1 or 4. If that doesn't work for you, just let me know, man, and we can always we can always try and set up something custom with you too. Like I'm there every Tuesday nights for my Toastmasters group meets there. So like I could meet you on a Tuesday night and give you a tour kind of thing after hours. We try and be pretty flexible with it. So.
No, I was just curious what it was because especially interested in that kind of stuff for my kids, like the Bellingham coding robotics. When that place first opened, we were the first
absolutely
ones there with my kids during COVID because there was nothing else to do. And
yep.
It was a great place. It was just a little bit
pricey.
It's a little bit out of our price range right now. With 2 kids in there, and it's a little bit far. It just didn't quite. It'd be nice to have something a little closer. Like we're way up in Blaine. So.
Okay, I was just gonna ask where you are. Yeah, I'm in Ferndale, so like it is a little bit of a schlep down to the mall, but like it's at least right off I-5, and it's at least not Fairhaven. I love the Bellingham coding guys. They actually the coding and robotics guys came to the Maker Fair that we put on at the mall last October. And they were one of our exhibitors there. Really cool group. But yeah, like you said, it's a little bit off it's cool for the people that live maybe in Bellingham proper or in Fairhaven. But if you're in, Linden, Blaine, Ferndale, anywhere out in the county, it gets to be.
The concept of it is pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, agreed. We're actually trying to partner with them to see if we can get them to teach some classes like at our space, so it'll be some of the same content, but you won't have to go all the way down to Fairhaven. So maybe that's something to look out for. So. Yeah, man, if you've got like kids 10 to that age range, especially that like 10 to 14 age range, especially boys, usually, because we got robots and shit in there. You bring them in, they'll love it. It's yeah. That's awesome. Well, yeah, come by the space sometime. Let me know if you're going to bring in your kids, and I'll try and make it in there myself. I mean, I'm a volunteer board member. I don't work there or anything. I have a day job, but I spend a lot of my off time either at or doing work for the space. So it takes up a good bit of my what little free time I have. So.
Well, you enjoy what you do, brother. That's why I do what I do too, because I enjoy it.
I will tell you, man, I told the Makerspace that, so I told my Toastmasters club that I'm stepping down as an officer after this term. So come like April, I'll be done. I'll still be going to Toastmasters meetings, but I'm not going to be an officer for the club. So less responsibility there. I told the Makerspace that when I'm done with my current term as president in April, that I'm stepping down as president. I'll stay on the board, but I don't want to be president. It's too much. I'm going to keep helping to organize this, but honestly, I'm glad I have you, man, because I'm trying to get it to the point where I can focus on some personal projects this year. I've started to get back into music. I got that whole like wall of guitars over there and shit. I got my piano and everything. Like I actually am a musician, but you wouldn't know it because I haven't done it in so long. So like I'm trying to make this.
You must know Yogo Man then, right?
Know who?
Yogo Man. You don't know Yogo Man? He's been around in Bellingham forever, man. He's got this kind of
so.
You know what I'm talking about?
Man, that's the thing is so I used to be in a band back in Ohio. I knew everybody in the music scene. And then I moved to Portland and I met some people in the music scene just because I would occasionally go out and play, but like not often. And then I moved up here and I have done fuck all with music in the 5 years I've lived here. Like, I don't even think I've gone out to sing karaoke anywhere. Like I have done nothing. So like I don't know anybody in the Bellingham music scene.
It's all good, buddy, but it's all good. You can always just look him up on Facebook.
Yeah, it's Yogo Man.
Yogo Man. Yeah, Yogo Man. Yeah.
Okay, Jordan.
He's real popular, family oriented as well.
Okay.
Him back in the day when I was doing setting up entertainment. I got him in Third World to do a thing down at the Downtown Sounds, like probably about 5-6 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's really popular, very talented. His wife and him both, and his little girl ain't a little girl no more. I've seen her boy; she's like 18, 19 now. So
right on, yeah, man.
Little boy. I remember when she was a little girl, man. You know, but she's
Oh.
grown now. My goodness. But yeah, just check him out, man. He usually does
All
some
right.
stuff down at Boundary Bay sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
You know, in the outside there, you know, they'll get together, you know, on a weekend and do some open mic entertainment type stuff there. You know,
Very
it's always
cool.
a
Yes,
snack, man.
very
You know,
cool.
he does these breweries sometime too, right? You know, we live like that up here, so you know, you can take your family to these micro breweries and you know have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of stuff. Bring your dog, you know, that kind of thing. I kind of like that. So
Yeah, same. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, hey, it was
All
good
right,
to
man.
catch up with you. And TJ, I will see you in person in March, my friend.
all right, my friend. All right, man, Dan. Good to see you, brother. We'll talk.
Yes, sir. You
soon.
too.
Reach out to me. Reach out
All right.
to me when you want to talk.
Awesome. Will do.
All
Have a good one, gentlemen.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.